just like you. If I have to hurt you to save your life, then I won't hesitate to be kind. I will tear out with my bare hands the illusion of love that has made you blind. 'Cause it isn't worth it to hear them chant your name. If I let you go under, I have only myself to blame. 'Cause they don't care about you. Yeah, they don't care about you. And they don't care about you. And I am the man who's gonna save your life.
Okay, and we are live. Yes, how is everybody doing this fine Saturday morning? It's Larsen Halleck here. It's Larsen Live, 8/13/2022. I will not be zombie walking through this stream because I'm not shitting my brains out from food poisoning this week. And that means I can indeed spend my weekend doing things other than, not other than sitting on the toilet, I should say. We opened up the show with Shining Wizado's Kane Dewey, which seemed pretty appropriate to me, considering the news, as the title implies, that Gene Lebell, Judo Gene, has died. And I figured that a song about pro wrestling, which Gene Lebell was also very much involved in, would be appropriate. Yes, a filk song about Mick Foley was clearly the choice here. And yeah, I know there's a ballad of Gene Lebell. It kind of sucks, to be honest. And yeah, we'll talk about Gino in a second. But yeah, let's get right to the news. The FBI raids Mar-A-Lago to audit Donald Trump, former president, of course, over the various dickery he gets up to. And the libs, who still have Trump living rent-free in their heads, are struggling to not start furiously beating off. What do they find? Apparently, Trump tried to flush some documents, but they weren't shredded. That's a little bit embarrassing there. But what did the FBI actually find? Allegedly, some kind of classified documents there. Possible nuclear launch codes. I mean, is this going to end up being a big nothing burger? I don't know. Trump has pled the fifth, which people are obviously taking as an admission of guilt. Because if you were innocent, you would need to plead the fifth. Which is, incidentally, exactly what the conservatives used to say about the Patriot Act. Well, if you don't have anything to hide, you shouldn't worry. I think it's generally smart to not say things until you have a lawyer present, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a citizen. Now, like I've said, okay, let's see. Ponythroat says, I am not shitting my brains out with food poisoning, but I did just buy some gas station meatballs. Let's spin the wheel on that. Yeah, I try not to buy food from the gas station. I mean, if you want to talk about gas station food, I've had some bad experiences. Like, namely, I bought a sandwich that was covered with mold, which I didn't realize till I bought it. I literally stormed back into that gas station. I threw it in the guy's face and I demanded a refund, which I got. So, yeah, if the meatballs kick your ass, you can go back to the gas station, storm it, and get a refund. Ponythroat says, I assume that the FBI found whatever evidence that they brought with them. Yeah, a little bit. And Mocktimus Prime says that Trump did say if you plead the fifth, you're guilty. Yes, he did. Again, Trump is certainly no stranger to sticking his foot in his mouth. I've said this repeatedly. I'm not a huge fan of Trump. And if they can find anything legit, then yeah, he should be punished for it. That's if they find anything legitimate. And that's assuming that the FBI isn't being used as a weapon to attack Trump so he doesn't think about running again. I mean, it's not like intelligence agencies have ever been used to attack political enemies or anything. Oh, wait, they totally have, many times. Again, this is a bipartisan tactic. And also, again, yeah, Trump is an asshole and he's probably up to no good. But, I mean, there's quite a few members of the government that could use an FBI investigation, to be quite honest. Not the least of whom is mumbly Joe Biden himself. I mean, if only for the crap that his son gets up to. But yeah, there's a murderer's row in our government of criminals, and I may or may not be speaking literally there. And speaking of President Biden, I mean, he's a little grabby with a little girl, so maybe we should investigate that as well. The raid on Mar-A-Lago is occurring concurrently with an NYPD investigation of Trump's offices. We shall wait and see as to the results of these investigations. But yes, it is a hell of a thing that a former president is being investigated by multiple law enforcement agencies. Optimus Prime sarcastically says, the government always has our best interests in mind. Well, yes, we all know that, clearly. In very sad news, and hence the name of the stream, and don't worry, this is all going to tie together. Yes, Gene Lebell died, which is very unfortunate. He died of the sudden cause of being 89 years old, Judo Gene did. What can I say about Gene Lebell that I didn't already say about him in my video about his stupid Panther Productions video that I did like 5 years ago? I mean, Gene Lebell is a pioneer of martial arts. He is the first American to be a Grandmaster of Judo. He's the winner of the first MMA match sanctioned in the U.S. against Milo Savage. He is the trainer of dozens of fighters, both male and female, and an actor and a stuntman in dozens of films, some of which were even watchable. So yes, go watch my video on Judo Gene Lebell again, and do pour out a libation for the dead. Rest in peace, Gene. But yes, speaking of Gene Lebell, and somewhat jumping ahead to the celebrities and inanities portion of the show, Steve Burt Seagal visits a Russian POW camp. Boy, I'm combining everything today. You know, we got celebrity news, we got international news, it's all there. Yes, Steven Seagal visits a Russian POW camp full of Ukrainian POWs. Jesus, Steve, can't you go 15 seconds without humiliating yourself? Yeah, I mean, for those of you not aware, Steve-O has Russian citizenship now, and he's firmly pro-Putin, as are a few other celebrities, including some of those in the martial arts community, like Jeff Munson there. Jeff Munson here! Like watching people get fucked for free! That will always be his greatest legacy in the field of martial arts. In case you didn't know why there's a Lebell-Seagal connection, shame on you for not watching my video. Yeah, so what happened was apparently on the set of Out for Justice, which still remains my favorite Steven Seagal film, Steven Seagal was talking some, stuff about how he's got some kind of move. Well, let's see, I got some, Mitchell Valentino donates some monies. He can't chat, but he's listening while at work. Cheers. Thank you. And yes, I have actually unplugged my headphones from the microphone itself to the computer so I can actually hear when I have super chats. And yes, thank you again for your money, sir. So yeah, where was I? Oh yes, Steven Seagal, set of Out for Justice, is talking about how he had some kind of move where it's like if somebody puts him in a rear naked choke, he could do this move, and whatever would happen, he could get out of that choke using that move. So Gene Lebell, who's a stunt coordinator on the movie, obviously being a grandmaster of judo, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna, let's test it out. So, they grapple for a bit, and eventually Judo Gene Lebell gets Steven Seagal in a rear naked choke. So Steven Seagal unleashes the move, which is apparently just to punch him in the balls. It did not extricate him from the hold. He continued to choke him, and Steven Seagal went unconscious and allegedly soiled himself while doing so. Now, I'm not going to judge a guy for getting choked out. I mean, I myself have been choked unconscious. It's not fun. And yeah, this is why you don't eat before martial arts training. So, I can't obviously that's an involuntary bodily function. You can't control that thing. But yeah, there's no move that is, undefeatable. There's no move that, cannot be slapped on with efficacy. But yes, that's why you don't eat before martial arts training. I mean, really, you ought to void your bowels before any sort of strenuous physical activities so like that doesn't happen. Like I said, I've been choked out myself, but I always practice jujitsu with an empty stomach, so I don't crap myself. Anyway, we got some comments here. Let's see. Okay, Moctimus Prime says Seagal always be number 2 compared to Judo Gene. Yeah, yes. I see what you did there. Ponythroat says Judo Gene Lebell. Choking posers till they shit themselves in heaven. Yes, he will. Babe Slankovich says documents found at Mar-a-Lago were top secret, not to be removed. What was he planning to do? Selling for money to finance his presidential campaign? That's an espionage charge. Yes. Again, I've never been a huge Trump fan, so yeah, he should be. If they can pin this on him, they should prosecute him, with fairness and under the law. But again, I think the whole government needs to be thoroughly investigated for a lot of things, to be quite honest. But yeah, back to Steve Burt Seagal. I did 2 very long videos on the utter clown show that his life is in recent years, so we need to go over all that again. I also did a complete read-through of his god-awful novel, like crime thriller novel, The Way of the Shadow Wolves. We don't need to talk about that again either. But instead, we can just hold our heads and sigh about what a train wreck that man has become. And to think there was once a time where they thought that he could leave action movies and do legitimate acting. Ironically, several action stars have done the same. Like I've talked about how, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Sylvester Stallone, they've done some legitimate good acting in the past. But, yeah, not the Aikido man. And by the way, if you haven't seen his newer direct-to-video movies, do yourself a favor and just check out any of them. Like, physics is the least that gets bitch-slapped in those movies. Remember when he actually used to use Aikido and could, move, actually? Yeah, those days are long gone. Crap like Out for a Kill is the standard now, where he, honest to God, he fights a barber who's also a monkey man that can literally, climb on walls. And after the scene, Steve-O's sitting in a chair. Steven is just as invincible as he was back in his prime, but he's vastly out of shape at this point, and he can't even really pretend to be an action hero at this point. Yeah, it's worth a laugh, though. I mean, if I were insane, I would go through all of his DTV movies, but I don't feel like it. I mean, I will still defend his first 5 movies. So, yeah, 5, let's see. We got Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Under Siege. Yeah, 5. But yeah, I cannot defend the, full body moo-moos and having stunt doubles and hair doubles and standing around double state of his life. AKA the state he's been in since On Deadly Ground, the movie where he becomes a prophesized Inuit warrior and gives a 20-minute long environmentalist speech at the end, but not before R. Lee Ermey gives him one of the most sensuous verbal hand jobs you will ever hear anybody give to a fictional character. Not just that one character. There's literally moments in the movie where they'll have random people going, "Oh, thank God Forrest Taft is here. He's going to put out that fire," or whatever. And they're not even on screen. They're just 80 yard in. Clearly, the original cut didn't have enough of the characters verbally jacking Steven Seagal off, so he demanded even more tongue baths. Is there the potential for him to stop being a shit-ass? I mean, I suppose. But the age he is now, I think he's pretty stuck in his ways. I mean, yeah, when you're 60 years old and you're still acting like a jackass, there's not much chance of you turning your life around, is there? Whose hot dog is this, huh? Is it yours? Yeah, let's check out the comments here. Okay, Ponythroat says, and to think Gene Lebell was just a young man of 60 when he made Steve-O shit himself. Yes. Ponythroat also says, Steven Seagal has home cinema where he watches his stuntman while patting his own muscle and saying, "So got it, Steve, this is still your dojo." Yeah, I hate to plug my videos, but yeah, watch those again when he talks about like the magical telepathic puppies that like warn him of house fires and things like that. It's ridiculous. Captain Day After Day says Mad TV's Steven Seagal looks like a documentary now. At this point, I'm pretty sure Will Sasso could kick his ass at this point. I mean, Will Sasso's actually lost a lot of weight recently. But yeah, speaking of Russia, a nanny who decapitated a child in Russia is going to get 5 years in prison, apparently. What the actual hell? Yeah, let's go more into detail about this story. A nanny, evidently of Syrian ethnicity, for reasons that we will go into shortly, decapitates a little girl and runs through the streets screaming Allah Akbar while holding a child's head. But it's okay. She's going to go to a psych ward and get cured. You know, if you have to be told that murdering children or murdering anybody is bad, you're probably beyond curing at this point. She said it was revenge for Putin attacking Syria. Sorry. Okay, first of all, this woman looks like a hatchet-faced lunatic. I mean, why would anybody hire this person to watch their child? Secondly, this question goes out to women like this and that dumbwad in this country who shot up that Buffalo supermarket, things like that. If you're trying to fight for your, ethno-racial vengeance, why are you killing random civilians? Like, wouldn't you kill the politicians that order those things to be done? I mean, what do you think you're going to accomplish here? I mean, even if I was some raging ethno-nationalist, which I'm clearly not, but even if I was, I'd have to be like, this is going to turn people against your cause. Like, come on, people, use some common sense here. And speaking of Mohammedan violence, the Dar al Harb, the House of War, a Sunni Muslim gentleman pops off and kills some other Muslim guys because his daughter was marrying one of them. A tragedy, to be sure. This is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, by the way. Yeah, a tragedy, certainly. But the police department immediately blamed this on white supremacy without a shred of evidence. Now that it turns out that Whitey had absolutely nothing to do with this, it's going to go down that memory hole. Watch, this will disappear immediately. Okay, let's see. Got some comments here. Ponythroat says, by Putin attacking Syria, I assume she means Putin attacking ISIS in Syria, much to the approval of Syria's population at large. Well, I'm just quoting the woman herself. I mean, this woman doesn't have much going on upstairs, clearly. Babe Slankovich says, isn't there a statute of limitations on fatwas? Salman Rushdie would hope so. Yeah, I heard about that as well. I mean, Salman Rushdie, of course, the writer of these satanic verses, a satirical work about, the Muslim religion and what have you. I will be the first to tell you I have not read the satanic verses. But yes, he's been hated by, well, the Islamic fundamentalist world ever since. It's been 30 years, but they finally got him. Actually, it's been more like 40 years, honestly. Yeah, he was giving a speech about something or other, probably his book, or the unbearable state of being fatwad, and some guy rushed the stage and stabbed him. I mean, let's hope he's going to be okay. I hope so. But yes, back to this Albuquerque thing. I'm not even joking when I say this was immediately blamed on white supremacy. Like the same day it happened, within hours, the White House tweeted out how, this racism is an affront to who we are, or whatever. Well, I mean, I suppose that like fatwa versus fatwa is indeed an affront to who we are, but never mind that. Yeah, some journalist was like, I guarantee this is a white supremacist MAGA guy. A slight chance of it being a Hindu nationalist. Yeah, no, turns out it was Sunni versus Shiite. Dog bites man. The usual thing. It was a refugee from Afghanistan killing, presumably, some other Afghans. Boy, it sure is great that we bring everybody's ethnic blood feuds here to this country. We invade the world and then we invite the world. As long as the line on the stonk graph goes up, we're all good, eh, Republicans? And again, I've said this many times, but yeah, this is why, as much of an asshole as Trump is, I will, support him over, the mainstream Republican consensus, because this is the mainstream Republican consensus. We're going to invade everybody, and then we're going to bring them here. We're going to bring everybody's, ethnic blood feuds and hatred and resentment here. But it doesn't matter, because as long as the stocks are going up, everything's just peachy. And Trump, to his credit, was against that. Again, Trump's an asshole, but he was against that. And, I can't help but agree with that. Yeah, as long as we get the stonks going up, it's we can just do whatever we want. No, no, you can't just mix and match cultures and expect total harmony. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying one culture is better than another. That's not what I'm saying. Every culture, adapts to its environment, and every culture is, optimized for its environment. But there are differences. We should not have been in Afghanistan in the first place, and they shouldn't be coming here. But America belongs to everybody. No, America's not a country with its own unique culture and history that can decide its own destiny or anything. No, derp. No, it's just a big resource everybody can exploit at will. Just a big shopping mall. Everybody can just come in and just buy useless crap and sweatshop jeans and breakfast cereal at will. I mean, I would say this fucking country, but the people running it don't see it as a country. They see it as just a big, shopping mall. Ponythroat says Rousseau's noble savage idea has caused more damage than fascism. Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, he's not the first guy to come up with a noble savage idea. I mean, arguably you could say Tacitus was one of the first to do that. If you read his Germania and ancient Chinese chroniclers said similar things about the Turco-Man peoples, things like that. Ponythroat talking about the Salman Rushdie stabbing said the guy who stabbed him was like, "Get my religion's name out your fucking mouth." Oh, will we ever stop making fun of Will Smith? No. And yes, speaking of this formerly great country, something happened this week that just exemplifies why this country can't do a damn thing or get anything done right. This story illustrates that more than anything. So, a public advocate for some organization, I forgot the name, they promote bike lanes in Boston. This Bostonian man went to the Netherlands, which is arguably one of the most, if not the most, bike centric countries on earth, to observe how their treatment of bicyclists and bike lanes and what have you is better than ours. And of course, you all know that I myself am an avid cyclist, mainly because I'm incredibly cheap and I don't want to spend money on things. Fair enough, right? But guess what? This clod, this, Boston Brahmin, do-gooding WASP type, guess what he's talking about? On our climate team, we specify racial equity, thinking about who we plan for and who we leave out as the top priority for us. Yeah, I'm doing that Long Island lockjaw there. We ask our hosts about who they prioritized in their planning. They'd say everybody was to use the lanes, but this is problematic because it excludes the already excluded. Yes. So if you ignore my, Mr. Howell impression there, in other words, what this genius is saying is, the most important thing when you're setting up your bike lanes and, maybe making the air a little bit cleaner is, how is this going to help black people and brown people? And yes, like I said, this guy is some Bostonian do-gooding Puritan type. We got to help the heathen. Well, yeah, sure, the Dutch city planners are much more efficient. They clean up their environment better. They're not handing money to black people for literally no reason, and by God, that offends me. Yes, first off, isn't diversity wonderful? Oh, those silly Hollanders with their efficiency and getting stuff done and having clean air and clean environments. What fools those mortals be. They don't have diversity to give them strength. Secondly, and in all seriousness, this kind of encapsulates here why America sucks and will continue to suck and never accomplish anything anymore as a nation. because everything has to revolve around progressively smaller agreed minorities, and everything has to be micromanaged and made bland and anodyne and mediocre to avoid offending anybody rather than actually accomplishing things or solving the problems. And I guarantee these people will continue to bicker and micromanage and debate whether or not bicycling is racist towards, BIPOCs or whatever, and they won't accomplish anything at all. Let's check out the comments here. Let's see. Ponythroat says, you know, perhaps Mr. Bloodsworth should visit the UK, the country in which every new traffic law is seemingly designed to get as many cyclists killed with traffic accidents as possible. Is it really that hard to avoid getting hit by things as a bicyclist? I hear bicyclists telling about, oh, I get doored all the time, which is where you run into open doors. Like, I don't do that. Like, am I the only one capable of keeping your eyes open? My eyes open, I should say. Captain Day After Day says, I've been to cities in the U.S. and foreign countries. My guess is how they set up bike paths is wherever we can have frickin' room. I mean, yeah, ideally. And yeah, I mean, I think bicycling should be encouraged because, I mean, this country desperately needs massive amounts of cardiovascular activity. But I just don't see why it's so hard to just bike in the street. Let's compromise here. Bicyclists need to follow the traffic laws, which is true, and drivers need to stop their inane virulent hatred of bikers. I mean, I just hate when car drivers will drive up on me, try to run me off the road, or they'll honk at me for no reason. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm getting swole and you're a fat ass in your car. Sorry. But yeah, with regards to this whole, bike thing, no, Susan, I'm not saying, black people are bad or it's because of black people. I'm saying that any country that devotes its entire mental energy to a 13% minority, and we're going to leave that statistic at 13%, wink, wink, and has its whole intellectual discourse revolving around how to best not offend said minority and atone for admittedly real historical wrongdoing done to said minority, yeah, that country's going to suck the big one. Yeah, can we please stop with this white savior, white man's burden? I have to save the benighted heathen crap. It's like with the voting ID controversy, that thing that every other country does. When liberals whine about how much better Europe is than America, they never seem to talk about the voting ID laws that they have in Europe. Curious, isn't it? But we can't have those because, oh no, voting ID would be literally like Jim Crow. The poor benighted sons of Ham. They don't know how to get IDs. Oh, forgive the innocent Negro. He knows not what he does. Just cut this out, please. They don't need your paternalistic saving. Black people are quite capable of getting IDs or riding bicycles. The bike lanes in Holland don't avoid minority neighborhoods, and the bike lanes in Boston presumably wouldn't either. So there you go. It's not discriminating against anybody. Despite what people think, there are not literal ghettos anymore like medieval Italy where they would lock Jews behind a gate. That's not happening here. And, if it's mostly white people riding bikes, then, gee, maybe cultures are different and you should just accept that some people might not be into bike riding. The colorblind Shads win again. Okay, Captain Day After Day says cycling in foreign countries is a bit easier, mostly because their lanes are the same size, but the cars are normally smaller. So it's easier to share the road than in the US, perhaps. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of men with little tiny penises buying big trucks to compensate for it in this country. That is a problem. I admit it. Ponythroat says in the UK it's legal to ride your bike on the sidewalk. Technically, it's illegal in America too, or at least discouraged. You got to compete with cars in the UK, and heavy goods vehicles with long brake distances are expected to brake for cyclists at corners. Well, to be fair, I think cyclists should err on the side of caution because your fruity little bike outfit will not stop a car hitting you. Just FYI. But yeah, speaking of race based idiocy, the city of Vancouver posts an advertisement for a lifeguard, but not just any lifeguard. It's got to be a special lifeguard, one who is committed to sustainability, decolonization, and equity. Not listed in the job posting, the ability to save lives, do CPR, or even, swim. Oh, well, you need to be safe from drowning. I have to ask you first, sir, are you willing to do a land acknowledgement for the tribe that originally lived here? No? Well, then you can drown then. Yeah, no. I was never a lifeguard, but I am CPR certified. I have to ask, what does any of this have to do with being a lifeguard? Is someone going to show me like one instance of a lifeguard like refusing to save, black people or whatever? If you can show me that, then I would agree that the lifeguarding profession needs equity and decolonization, but I highly doubt that ever happened. Just saying. Oh, and there's a lot more race based idiocy going on because there always is. Let's get right to it then. What is the difference between a fraternity and a gang? Asks the stunningly mediocre Ibram X. Kendi, formerly Ibram Henry Rogers, before he changed his names because Henry is like Henry the Navigator of Portugal, who kicked off the transatlantic slave trade, and Rogers because something. And when I say stunningly mediocre, I mean it. The dude had to work to get 1,000 on his SATs. I mean, I presume he spelled his name wrong and that took a few hundred points off. The guy didn't have a real job until he was well into his 30s. And now all of a sudden, this moron gets thrown millions of dollars because he promotes the opinions of the powers that be. All the while regularly tweeting out things that totally dismantle all his stupid arguments. That one tweet he had where he says, well, it's like, almost 50% of white people, they lie about their race on the college admissions. That proves there's white privilege. Like, no, it literally doesn't. If white people are pretending to be non-white, then, you know, obviously it's the non-whites who would have privilege because they're more likely to get into college. I think this totally flew over his head. Like I said, stunning mediocrity. Ibram X. Kendi is the, Lysenko of our nation. Promoting, fraudulent lies just because they happen to ideologically align with our country, which is basically the new Soviet Union. But yeah, I mean, fraternities, gangs are basically the same thing, right? Yeah, all those drive-bys and, robberies and murders that fraternities cause, right? Okay, Captain Day After Day says, if I were dying and somebody started talking to me about equity and decolonization, I'd get up and walk away. That might be a good idea. Yeah, it might stimulate people to swim. Ponythroat says, to be fair, lifeguards do need to prioritize people of color. They're not strong swimmers. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, yeah. But yeah, all those drive-bys frats cause. Am I right? I mean, look, I was never in a fraternity myself. I mean, I find the whole thing kind of silly and more than a little homoerotic. But come on, they're not criminal organizations. I'm a Rutgers University graduate, and yeah, Rutgers Day got canceled due to student buffoonery. The sort of buffoonery where couches get lit on fire and one person got shot in the buttocks. But, gang banging clearly has a lot worse than that happening. Yeah, I mean, you remember, those of you who, are college men. Remember when you go to a frat party, you pay your $5 to cover beer, and then you get jumped in. You got to listen to some crappy music, then you got to execute some random guy, blood in, blood out, right? Isn't that what happens at frat parties? Oh, wait, no, that never happened ever. I mean, I have my issues with frat parties, like the whole idea that, like, oh, you can't get in here unless you got like four girls with you. Yeah, because, if I had four girls that would be willing to go with me to some place, I'd totally go to your party and give them up, idiot. They're having a party at my place. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I'm not a I was not in a fraternity, but I don't really have a problem with them per se. But I have to ask, like, why all the sudden hatred of fraternal organizations in the last few years? You got that rape on campus hoax at the University of Virginia. You got stuff like this. Why all the sudden hatred? I mean, is Animal House going to be considered like a hate movie now? It's going to get canceled? Well, I mean, they already canceled Revenge of the Nerds, basically, so I think we're well on that road. But I was thinking, why all the hatred of fraternal organizations? Because when people imagine fraternities, they're still imagining those like, 1920s, Bearcat driving JC Leyendecker sort of, dude bros. It all revolves around feelings towards loud, bellicose, blonde dude bros. Either a simmering hatred of them or a simmering sexual desire for them and the desire to be gang raped by those muscular blonde dude bros. Call it the Kendi Erdely axis of fraternity hatred. Kendi, of course, hating them, just for hate, and Sabrina Rubin Erdely sexually desiring them, but she's not supposed to, so she's sublimating her desire into these idiotic, rape fantasies that she writes about. And also, just imagine what it would be like if our fraternities were more like German fraternities, where they cut their faces with the swords and stuff. I mean, you could not possibly stop the lady typists of this country from masturbating. Muscular blonde, bellicose dude bros with the dueling scars, sploosh. Okay. Ponythroat asks about the frat parties. Do the four girls have to be conscious? Well, I would assume so. I'm not dragging four corpses behind me. Also, Mr. Kendi, you are aware that there are black fraternities, right? I mean, he does know this. I mean, curiously, those black fraternities were not included in this stupid little article. Yeah, it must be nice being a race pimp who can regularly say stupid crap, you know, do not even the faintest hints of due diligence and get millions of dollars thrown at him by the establishment. Got a comment here. Ponythroat says, there is a difference between fraternities and gangs. There are white people in fraternities. They presumably are composed of people who finish high school. Well, that's what I'm saying. There are black fraternities and there are white organized crime groups. Like, don't be willfully ignorant, Mr. Kendi. But yeah, on the topic of Ibram X. Kendi, let's talk more about raving derelicts in regards to the open defecation problem going on in San Francisco and many other American cities. The UN sanitation czar advocates, why don't we just let the homeless, go to whatever bathrooms they want and crap them up, literally and figuratively. Now, to be fair, this woman was not advocating just letting them crap on the street, but it means we need to build more crappers, and businesses should open up all their doors so anybody can just come in and drop a deuce. Yeah, as somebody who has had to dig latrines in his life, I'm all for indoor plumbing. But do we also not see a problem with letting homeless derelicts into restaurants and bars where people are trying to have a nice time? I tried to say day and time. I just kind of butchered that. I mean, let's not pretend that the homeless are just innocent angels who just want to crap in peace. Like, there's going to be issues here. Can we build public toilets that are just public toilets, please? Thank you. Let's try to reduce the amounts of screaming derelicts that go into public places in our cities, because there's certainly enough of that going on in this day and age. Speaking of that, I saw a tweet just the other day about a homeless man in New York was just totally naked on the subway, and people tried really hard to ignore him and go about their day. I myself have encountered naked people on the subway. I've told the story before. There was a guy, he was, clothed. I'm on the subway, got off at the next stop. The guy's totally naked as a jaybird and being accosted by cops. I'd hate to be at the cop house to deal with a naked man. I still don't know what happened, and I don't want to know what happened. Rick talking about Ibram X. Kendi. Wasn't Rogers' wife's last name? I don't know, and I didn't look it up, to be honest. But yeah, speaking of public feculence and speaking of New York City, but I repeat myself, New York has the breaking idea to maybe put garbage in a garbage can instead of just leaving it in rolling piles of filth on the curb. Wow! It took multiple committees and millions of dollars to realize that perhaps we can have dumpsters instead of just throwing garbage into big piles on the street, which coincidentally make the city smell like absolute garbage, literally and figuratively. It's not a silver bullet, says Joshua Goodman of the Department of Sanitation, but containerization, just to say putting trash bags in containers rather than the street, might make things suck less, so they're running tests in all 5 boroughs. And I just can't wait to hear about some, snotty, big-headed twink going like, you don't understand our culture. Like this is, having rolling piles of garbage. That's who we are in the city. Just like those clods who defend the bodegas as anything other than the horrifyingly miserable convenience stores they are. I mean, as somebody who did live in New York for a little while, yeah, I did not succumb to the weird Stockholm syndrome that New Yorkers have, where they just accept the horrifying conditions they live in as like part of the culture. And thank God for that. Ponythroat says cops hate dealing with naked people. They can't claim they thought he had a weapon when they shot him. Well, Your Honor, he tried to turkey slap me with his dick, and, things happened. Yeah, when it comes to New York, like, I know about the population density. I know that you would have a lot of dumpsters or have the sanitation guys running constantly. So, yeah, maybe you should have sanitation running constantly. Increase their wages and clean up the city. I mean, New York has been a filthy hellhole for too long, damn it. But there is a part of me that kind of wants New York to be a filthy hellhole, considering that's when like the cultural output was best. I mean, nobody's making the Warriors in 2022, that's for sure. Nobody's making Taxi Driver or anything like that. In more environmental related news, rainwater is allegedly unsafe to drink anywhere on Earth due to forever chemicals. That's totally not something they're telling us to make us dependent on them for water. You know, God help me though, as much as I hate to agree with the, World Economic Fund people and their build back better crap, but there might be a grain of truth to this. I mean, there's certainly environmental degradation going on. I'm sure there's microplastics that get condensed in the atmosphere through the hydrologic cycle and what have you that comes down to Earth. And, acid rain and things like that. Yeah, obviously you can't drink rainwater as is. You gotta filter it and boil it. But gee, I can't help but notice that the same people who warn us about the horrible rainwater, those are the same people that really want us to buy bottled water and eat the bugs and own nothing and be happy. I keep telling you people, these people literally want to be post apocalyptic warlords, especially that Schneider asshole from Nestle, Swiss douchebag. Nobody's listening to me when I warn you of this, but they're telling you these people, they want to own the rain. They want to control the drinking water, which they can dole out to the peasantry at will. I know I've said this before, but who in the hell watches Mad Max Fury Road, looks at Immortan Joe, and decides that's the way I want to live my life? I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, some people watch movies, look at the bad guy, and they think, well, that guy's got the right idea. Those are bad people. I mean, Bill Kristol, that dumbass, he's literally gone on record saying that the Empire in Star Wars is an ideal neoconservative government. Just keep that in mind. I don't even know how Bill Kristol has a job, considering he's literally never been right in his life, but he still works somehow. And, with regards to the post-apocalyptic warlords are going to be dealing with soon. I mean, I guess this is incentive to stay in shape, kids, so you can get ready to fight for potable drinking water and cans of beans in the Thunderdome. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time is here. Now we got some comments. And Detective 5 says at least the New Yorkers aren't being woke when they talk about their culture. Yeah, I mean, they've forced themselves to love, shitty bodegas and garbage in the streets. God bless them. Ponythroat says somehow the same forever chemicals avoid the tap water. Well, I mean, the tap water is filtered at least, which, again, if you have the rainwater, just boil it and filter it. It's not that hard. Yeah, once the Larsen farm starts, I'm going to be collecting rainwater all the time. But yes, now we come to the cultural news. I saw the movie Prey, and it was actually pretty good. I mean, it was the best thing out of the Predator franchise in years, that's for sure. I mean, they had to put a little bit of the message in there, but it wasn't as egregious as some other things. Naru, the lady in question, who's the main protag, she has to outsmart and trick the Predator, the Yautja, if you want to use the proper term, in the end, instead of just shit canning it like a strong whammon. She has to struggle and fight to beat the main bad guy, which I like. But yeah, there are scenes where this little girl beats up a dude of her own tribe, which might be somewhat excusable considering he appears to be a teenager himself. But then she goes to the Carrère du Bois, the French voyageur, or whatever camp. She kills like 5 grown men by herself. Really? And then, of course, at the end of the movie, spoiler alerts, yeah, she's smiling. I mean, it is a spoiler, but yeah, if you think that like a woman of color is gonna die at the end of a movie, you're sadly mistaken. It's 2022. God. Anyway, yeah, at the end of the movie, she's smiling as she becomes a war chief of her tribe. Never mind the fact that her brother and other people she's grown up with are dead. She's strong whammon now. That's all that matters. Nothing matters. Your family doesn't matter. Your friends don't matter. As long as you become that girl boss, that's all that matters. It's just like that toxic masculinity where men bottle up their emotions, but it's good when women do it for some reason. I mean, does nobody know how to write emotions anymore? For God's sake, how does the first Predator end? You got Arnold is on a plane looking miserable, exhausted, and shell-shocked. There's no triumph here, but he's merely a hardened special forces operator with decades of experience. He's not a strong whammon. She's stronger than him. Me. Yeah, fuck you, Dutch Schaefer. The 17-year-old girl could kick your ass. Me. Okay, let's see. Ponythroat wrote something, and then he deleted it. Okay, Captain Day After Day says the Predator wasn't fighting for autism, so it's definitely better than the last one. I didn't even see that movie, The Predator. Didn't I heard it? Didn't he like, what's the word? Like chimera different body parts onto himself? Yeah, I heard it sucked real bad. Okay. Rick asks, how does it compare to the Warrior Predator YouTube video? I don't know. I haven't seen it. And Detective 5 says, I'm surprised she didn't stare at the enemy, and the enemy just died instantly. Oh, you mean like Captain Marvel? Yeah, because, it's sexist to make women struggle for things. But yeah, this one was a tepid step in the right direction. She did have to fight a little bit and struggle. Well, she struggled against the Predator, not the, human men. Yeah, she could kick their asses like 1, 2, 3. Ponythroat asks, why were the French people at that movie resident in what appears to be shell-hole-filled World War I no man's land? Is that just a natural habitat of the French? Well, it's like, you got Native Americans and you got white people, and I think white people are just like a plague upon the land. They just despoil the land wherever they go, apparently. I think that's the message they're trying to get across here. But on the other hand, I did like how the movie, overall, despite what I'm complaining about, I did like the movie. I thought it was pretty good. I gave it like a solid B minus, let's say. Yeah, I do like how it shows that, yes, many natives were, in fact, pretty patriarchal. And you can look up what the Plains Indians would do to female captives if you want some light reading for yourself. Saving the last bullet for yourself became a cliche for a reason. Yeah, so, yeah, Prey, pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. Yeah, it's a solid third place in the franchise. I'd say it's Predator 1, Predator 2, then Prey, then those other piles of crap that they put out. And hey, we also get the minor spoilers. We get to see who Raphael Andolini is, apparently. Okay, Ponythroat says, in the last one, the Predator was on or trying to extract autism. The movie says that autism is the next stage in human evolution. He was trying to create autistic predators. I'm dead serious. Oh, God, that sounds awful. And yeah, Prey, it opens up the possibilities for a back to basics approach to the Predator franchise. There's a pretty cool fan film out there called Predator Dark Age, which, I don't know, is that what Rick was talking about or whatever? I don't know, but yeah, Predator Dark Age was actually, I saw it in another video, was recommended, which apparently is exactly what it says on the tin. A predator shows up in medieval times and he has to fight some knights. You could literally do this in any time period or location. You can even go to other planets. So, yeah, Prey, check it out if you have the time. But also, speaking of strong whammon related productions, much worse ones, She Hulk Attorney at Law. The creators say doesn't matter how we try or not, or whether or not we try hard or not. And I quote, sad adult nerds will watch our crap. Yeah, there's a winning business strategy. Showing naked contempt for your customer base. Why does nobody watch our show? I don't know. Coincidentally, this is also the same thing I always criticize the Democrats for when they fail to attract middle America, the white working class. Why do they hate us so much? I mean, all we do is show them naked contempt and hatred at all times. Does nobody really understand that people don't like people who openly hate them? Like, has nobody read How to Win Friends and Influence People? It's not a long book. I'll lend you my copy if you want. And no, I haven't watched the She-Hulk show. I have no desire to watch the She-Hulk show, and thus I'm likely not ever going to watch the She-Hulk show. It looks like absolute garbage, both the quality of the CGI itself and the writing of the show. I don't understand how you have the most successful film franchise in history and the graphics look so bad. Yeah, speaking of graphics, Prey had some pretty shoddy looking CGI too. I mean, I don't. This is why I don't like CGI all that much. Yeah, when it looks good, it looks good. But a lot of the times it just looks like gooey nonsense just kind of sliding around the screen. You got to go with the puppets and the animatronics. Most of the time, that looks better. And yeah, puppets can look like crap too, but when they're good, they look more real than the computer stuff, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know how Marvel managed to mess up the wacky adventures of a 7 foot tall sex pot single female lawyer. By gum, they're managing to do it somehow. Okay, let's see. Ponythroat says, given that the Predators have the gun, Raphael Andolini's pistol again, in Predator 2, I assume the Predators came back and mopped the floor with that native tribe. Well, minor spoilers. The credits are done in the style of like Native American paintings, which is cool. And then the last shot is you see like more Predator ships coming. So yeah, I'm gonna assume that they came to this Comanche village and just kicked the shit out of them and then took the gun back. Captain Day After Day says, my only complaint with Prey was that the people in this movie would have likely revered the Predator. They called the Comanche the Cossacks of the plains for a reason. And that's a distinct possibility. And actually, didn't they think it was like a demon or something, or at least the girl did. And Detective 5 says, maybe it's just me, but most of the good practical effects professionals have either passed away or retired. A lot of them have, unfortunately. But yeah, there are some good ones. Like on YouTube, Got to rip another YouTuber. There's a Blue Worm, the lone animator. He does really good stop motion animation. I think it's like professional quality. Yeah, and he does not have nearly as many subscribers as he should. So you should check those out. But yeah, speaking of crappy Marvel shows, they're making an Ironheart show. Oh joy, oh rapture. Ironheart is, of course, the teenage black girl successor to Iron Man, who's eh. There's nothing inherently wrong with her, I suppose. But again, if you have a teenage girl successor to Iron Man, why would you not call her Iron Maiden? Okay, and yeah, this show's dead on arrival because they're filling it full of trans women and drag queens, apparently. I don't think they're hiring one to play Riri Williams, who is the titular Ironheart. But yeah, that's what they're promoting more than who's gonna be the main character, promoting a bunch of drag queens and transsexuals. Yeah, like I said, they didn't say what role this person was playing, but for my own amusement, I'm gonna assume it's the main role. It's probably not going to be, but I'm going to assume that for my own amusement. And they're also cramming in some drag queens because why the hell not? They're hiring a fairly white looking trans woman. I mean, to play a black girl with a big afro, if I'm assuming correctly. I'm hoping they're not. Because, I mean, I was starting to think why you would do this, but it makes sense if you quantify diversity as inherent goodness. So you see, like, you got a black girl with her natural hair. It's like 7 out of 10 diversity, and therefore 7 out of 10 good. Therefore, a gender fluid trans woman, I'm not sure, by the way, how you can be both gender fluid and a trans woman. Like, what are you transitioning to exactly if you don't believe in gender? Well, that's like maximum goodness and maximum diversity. Thus, we can cram in the message subtextually, also spewing it forth explicitly in the show itself. We cannot stop winning, says the Marvel people. And when the show inevitably tanks, and it will tank, because I can already see the show's going over like a fart in church, they'll blame the fans. Not the fact that the show is inevitably going to be crap. No, it's those damn man baby chud incel fans downvoting the amazing show. And yeah, I'll just say it. Nobody wants to watch trans superheroes, okay? Dysphoria man. Brr, 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 brr. Lame. Ponythroat says, to be fair, anybody in that time period would have assumed the Predator was a demon. 1700s? Yes. Also, yeah, now that we're on the topic of bringing in drag queens and what have you, I've yet to have anybody explain to me how drag isn't basically just female blackface. Like, is it not just are they not the same? Are they not both creating like a clownish caricature of the target of mockery? I mean, somebody please explain to me how one isn't offensive but the other is. Anyway, in we're leaving Marvel behind. We're going to talk about more serious films. James Franco has been cast to play Fidel Castro in a movie, and everybody lost their minds. Bear in mind that these are the same people who Yas Queened at black women playing Anne Boleyn, the shoehorning of random black people in that Rings of Power crap. I hate to break it to you people, but Castro's parents were from Spain. James Franco is Portuguese. It's pretty close. It's all Iberia, isn't it? A lot closer than demanding some random mestizo Latinx, John Leguizamo. And yeah, John Leguizamo, wasn't your first movie role playing an Italian guy? How is that not appropriation, sir? I mean, Fidel Castro's daughter approved of the casting, just FYI. And really, just look at James Franco. He does look a lot like Fidel Castro. Just put a beard on him. It's pretty close. But yes, with regards to John Leguizamo, he culturally appropriated Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers movie. So I don't think he has any business talking about, racial appropriation. You appropriated Italian people's culture, sir. How dare you? Ponythroat says Thanos snaps his fingers and 42% of the trans superheroes vanish. Yeah, that. I mean, they'd vanished before the snap, to be quite honest. Ponythroat also says blackface performers don't want to diddle your kids, unlike, uh, unlike drag queens. Yes. I want to get some water. Give me 1 second here. Ponythroat says John Leguizamo was a terrible casting of Luigi. I don't think he did that bad, to be honest. The main problem with that movie was the writing and the script and the direction. The actors did the best they could. Rick says maybe Justin Trudeau should have played his father. Yes. I mean, hey, he was a drama teacher, so maybe he could put his degree to use for once. Yeah, speaking of video game movies, Pac Man's apparently getting a movie, a live action movie at that. Jesus. I mean, how do you even make a story out of Pac Man? Unless you're making a film adaptation of Pac Man 2, the New Adventures game. You could get a story out of that. For those of you not aware, that's the game in which Pac Man is an emasculated suburban husband who clearly wants to stick a shotgun in his mouth through the whole gameplay. Yeah, you can make that into a movie. American Beauty, Pac Man style. Pac-American Beauty. My name is Lester Pac-Man. I am 42 years old. This is my house. This is my car. This is my life. In 1 year, I will be dead. Right now, I'm eating power pellets in the shower. This is the highlight of my day. Or you can just watch my video on that game. It's an old one, but yeah, it's honestly the only one of my video game reviews that I would actually defend as being, not unwatchable garbage. That's an old one, but that one actually does hold up. Mr. Deed says John Leguizamo also played Italian in Summer of Sam. Yeah, John. Yeah, how dare you appropriate Italian people? Ponythroat says the only action figures I own are Bob Hoskins Mario and John. Wow, that's a butchery of his name. John Leguizamo Luigi from the live action movie. The movie had a great 9/11 moment. Wait, did they make action figures of the Mario Brothers movie? And yeah, speaking of Mario, here's a somewhat controversial opinion. Mario being characterized as a, gruff and like a gruff, hey, fuck you, Brooklyn guy. That is by far the superior portrayal of Mario rather than bing bing wahoo noises. And yeah, I think that Mario should be like a gruff Brooklynite shit kicker. Okay, Ponythroat says, does Mesmeron the Pellet Wizard sound like he has some kind of toilet problem? I mean, I know he needs those power pellets. I mean, I've watched very, very little of the Pac Man show. It was one of those, dime a dozen, like, little creatures in their little village kind of shows that were popular in the 80s, like the Smurfs, the Snorks, what have you. But it's Pac Man this time. Shinseki Evans says Namco has lost the rights to Ms. Pac Man and the Pac family. Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, so what are you going to do for the movie then? I mean, you better start paying those rights because you got to make like Pac Man 2, The New Adventures, the movie. Rick says, I would watch Pac Man fight Billy Mitchell. Did Billy Mitchell have Pac Man records or was it just Donkey Kong? I don't know, actually. And it's a shame what happened to Billy Mitchell because like he did legitimately earn records back in the day, but you live a hero. You die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain, as they say. Speaking of video games, Yesterday was the 35th anniversary of the release of Street Fighter 1. And yet, I don't know if people have ever played Street Fighter 1, not Street Fighter 2, of course, but Street Fighter 1. Yeah, that game is absolute garbage. Like, I have no idea how that game was ever successful enough to get a franchise. What strength? But oh my god, the ready strike all over the world. Wait, no, it's what strength? But don't forget there's many guys like you all over the world. But of course, with the speech recognition being what it is indeed more like what strength? But oh my god, the world all over the world. You got all the world to beat me. Try again, kid. Okay, yeah, that was my impression of the voice clips in Street Fighter 1. I apologize. Ponythroat says, I thought the theme of the Pac Man show. Just a man who sounds like he's having a stroke grunting Pac Man. I mean, I thought it was an instrumental. I mean, were there lyrics to Pac Man? Hold on, I gotta watch this. Give me 1 second here. Okay, we got the Pac Man theme show. All right, Pac Man Season 1 intro. Oh, yeah, there it is. How could I forget the grunting Pac Man? Disregard that. And Mesmeron still looks like shit, and yet he's somehow not the worst villain that franchise has ever made. And Detective 5 says it might have been garbage, but Street Fighter had to start somewhere. Yeah, it had to. Ponythroat says, I am an arcade beat 'em up expert. Played them all, even Burning Fight and Undercover Cops. I like a good belt sprawling brawler myself. Did you play like Defenders of the Hood or whatever? Or like Pit Fighter or any of those bullshit games? Yeah, those are not great. But yeah, I like a brawler myself. And as it's not a good game, but God help me, I do like Renegade. Like, I know it's not good, but there's something enjoyable I find about it. Hey, going away from video to professional wrestling, Vince McMahon continues to pay out millions of dollars to the many, many women he was fooling around with. It's almost up to 20 million now. Yeah, Vince, I know you're a billionaire, but were these women really worth that much? Like, come on, you got that much. You can hire some hooers, really fancy ones, for a fraction of $20 million. They would tolerate all your insanity, Vince. You could strut around in your suits. You could growl. You could, swing the grapefruits around. You could force them to stand back. You could force them to dress up like Shawn Michaels while you bum them. What? But yeah, I don't understand why, if you were that rich, you wouldn't just hire like the fanciest of hookers. And so we come to the end of the stream and we talk about Wagie's posting L's. A district manager at unknown company takes 6 boxes of pizza that were supposed to be for the employees. They were told by, the corporate headquarters, we bought you pizzas today, which, that in and of itself is kind of a bullshit reward, pizza and things like that instead of bonuses, increases in wages, things like that. But okay, whatever. It's an award, as tepid as it is. Corporate buys you pizza, and by lunchtime, when everybody's excited to get the pizza, the district manager had literally taken all the pizza, put in his car, and just drove home. And suck it, Wagie. Also in Wagie's posting L's, well, this is a Wagie committing an L. Apparently, a 67-year-old man was just minding his own business, eating Wendy's. Then a Wendy's employee jumped the counter and just started punching him in the face. I will not comment on what race these people were, but yeah, that's not great. Ponythroat says Pit Fighter is a fighting game, not a beat 'em up. I was talking about Guardians of the Hood or Defenders of the Hood, whatever it's called. It's like Pit Fighter, but it's a belt scrolling beat 'em up, and it's not great. Oh, yeah, also speaking of New York City, apparently shark attacks are the new normal. That just came up on Twitter now. Why are more people getting attacked by sharks? Climate change is apparently it. Hmm. Also, apparently, the environmentalists are kind of causing it. There's massive increases of populations of fish, which attract, big dolphins and sharks and things to the seas off New York. So yeah, now we gotta deal with sharks. So yeah, that's does it for my prepared remarks. But you know, if you people have anything else to say, you can say it now. Otherwise, I'll just be browsing Wages posting L's. Oh look, here's Amazon. August engagement events. 8/6, ice cream sandwich day. The 6th, the 17th, and the 28th, hat day. The 15th and the 21st, jersey day. The 9th, the 19th, and the 22nd, Hawaiian shirt day, which I approve of course. I'm a big Hawaiian shirt fan myself. 8/10 and 8/19, lemonade day. 8/14, 8/20, and 8/24, snack attack. 8/25, women's equality day. And 8/30, trail mix day. So you know what's not here? Getting a raise day, or like not working horrible hours day. Oh, I hate Amazon so much. Pony Throat's got a lot to say. Pro tip: turn that pizza party in the and pizza tragedy. Put that AR-15 you've been saving up for up to good use. In all honesty, I think if I were working at that company, that would drive me to quit. I would literally punch the district manager in the face and throw down my uniform and quit. Okay. Ponythroat says the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh was killed by sharks. Wait, was he really? Gotta look that up. He ran out of life points and was sent to the graveyard. Let's see, gotta look that up. Let's see, I'm looking, where does it say anything about shark? Hmm, not seeing it. See what else people have to say here. Ponythroat says Dungeons and Dragons Shadows over Mistar was the best beat 'em up. Fact. Yeah, that is a pretty good one. Okay, Shinseki Evans says he drowned. I don't know about sharks. Huh. This is news to me. I mean, I guess I've been ignorant to the collectible card game news beat. Biff Stankovich asks, "Where's the best pizza you've ever had? Coney Island, Hoboken, where?" Well, always got to rep the New Jersey pizza myself. Okay, let's see. Captain Day After Day says, "I just killed my dad." A great documentary on Netflix. That's all I got. I have not heard of that. I mean, I've been watching Primal myself because Primal's a bunch of grunting and screaming, and God help me, I love it. Okay, Ponythroat says that the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh is found dead off the coast of Japan. His lower body was destroyed by shark. That's unfortunate. Rick says the shark swam out to the deepest water and brooded on the old, clean currents. He was very hungry that season. Walter Miller is a canticle for Leibowitz. Hmm. Ponythroat says Domino's recently closed their last outlet in Italy. I don't know why Domino's would be in Italy. I mean, I've said it myself. American pizza is better than Italian pizza, and I will defend that to the end. But yeah, Domino's sucks. Domino's has always sucked. Okay, people can still talk about whatever you want. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to, do your thing here, and then I gotta head out. Okay, doesn't seem like anybody has anything else to say. So, for Larsen Halleck, I'm Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.